Hello and welcome to Hooked on True Crime, the podcast where we unravel the clues, tie up the loose ends, and when no victim becomes a footnote to somebody else's story, with your host, Alexandre.
And Sarah Downey.
Hello.
Hello, how are we this week?
I'm very, very good, thank you.
Are you? We've had some stressful things this week.
Oh, we've had a nightmare few days, but
It's not been a nightmare.
It was an afternoon, wasn't it, actually? I'm really exaggerating.
It's been a mild inconvenience.
Yeah, we had a nightmare afternoon when your car set fire to itself.
It didn't catch fire.
And then a hedgehog almost died in our garden. We had to take it to the hedgehog rescue.
Yeah.
What wonderful places they are, though.
Yeah, the guy was amazing. He let me see the hedgehogs.
Yeah, I know. I'm so jealous.
It was amazing.
I'm so jealous I let you go on your own. Unsupervised. I should have gone.
I mean, I probably came back with fleas or something.
Yeah, well, let's hope not. I don't even want to think about that.
Let's hope I don't have fleas.
I don't even like moths. I don't want to have fleas in the house.
You don't even like butterflies.
Butterflies are harbourers of death.
They're not.
They are. Yeah, look, we saw loads of butterflies on our walk that morning, and by the afternoon, the hedgehog was practically dead.
But it lived.
We don't know that.
It lived.
Anyway, I'm hoping that you have a crime for me this week.
Yeah, I do. I had a crime for you last week.
Mm.
There was murder.
There was prison escape with helicopters, and you got really excited about it because you're such a boy sometimes.
It's a helicopter. It's really cool.
But bring us some true crime on our true crime podcast this week, please.
Well, this week we are going back to France.
Oh.
But before Sarah rolls her eyes in my general direction,
it's already done.
It will not be another French prison escape. Because I know that you don't consider them proper true crime.
They're not.
Proper true crime.
Mm-hmm.
And you find them only marginally more interesting than talking about Euclidean geometry.
Interesting.
Interesting?
I do find them, yes.
I don't
find it interesting. No, we've only got tea and coffee today.
Yeah.
This is not like us. Cheers, everybody.
So, this episode, I do promise proper true crime. And I happily recently came across a case which I personally hadn't heard of, and I hope you haven't either. Unfortunately, the nature of the case and the fact that it's a French crime do mean that it is very much the story of the perpetrator.
Oh.
But we will, nevertheless, as always, try and do as much justice to the victims as can be done.
Okay. We don't know a lot about the victims, I'm assuming.
Not nearly as much as we usually would.
Okay.
Anyway, without further waffle,
yes,
let's get into the story of Victor Joseph Prevost.
Okay. Is he our murderer?
Yes. He's also known as the La Chapelle Butcher.
Oh dear.
For reasons which will become clear.
Am I going to regret asking you to bring me true crime this week?
Well, maybe. He's also known as the Handsome Man for reasons which are inexplicable.
So he's not handsome. He's an ugly man.
He's not a handsome man, but
is it like one of those? You know, when someone at the pub they call someone, I don't know, shorty when they're really, really tall.
Well, the thing is, the pictures we have of him, I would say he's not a handsome man.
Right.
But as well as being known as the handsome man, women threw themselves at him.
Oh yeah, he must have had a little je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, there was something about him. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
So Victor Prevost was born on the 11th of December, 1836, in the small town of Mormont, about 40 miles outside of Paris.
Yeah.
His father, Pierre, was a coachman for a public coach company that took passengers from town to town and into Paris. So it's like a massive horse-drawn bus.
Good job, I suppose. You get to travel a little bit.
His mother, Barbie, was...
Barbie.
Or Barbie, yeah. I'm trying to make it French.
Barbie.
She was unemployed, but she kept the family home and she raised Victor along with his two older brothers, Leon and Adolphe.
Mm-hmm.
Victor...
Well, that's not unemployed then, is it? She's a mummy.
Yeah, she's a stay-at-home mum.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah. Victor seemed a happy child, although from a young age he suffered from bulimia. This would probably have been a difficult thing in the early 19th century before eating disorders and even a lot of mental illness was really understood.
Yeah, I bet.
However, it had very little effect on Victor as a child because his father also suffered from the same thing. So although wider society wasn't sympathetic, his parents would have been.
Mm.
Victor attended school in Mormont with his brothers until he was 14 years old, when he left his hometown for the city of Paris.
Oh, how exciting. The big city, bright lights, big city.
Exactly. Exciting at 14.
Yeah.
And he found work with a company that manufactured fencing and trellises.
Goodness. Okay.
Having been to France many times myself, I can tell you that the French people still love a good trellis. Trellises all over the place.
I didn't notice a huge amount of trellises.
Oh, they love a trellis.
Okay.
Stuff climbing over the trellis. Love it.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful wisteria or something.
Oh, yeah. I love wisteria, to be fair. Victor, though, did not enjoy his first job for many reasons. The work was hard, the hours were long, and also, since he didn't have a home in Paris, he had to sleep on a mattress on the floor of the workshop.
Oh.
Even worse for Victor, his employer and his co-workers didn't understand his bulimia the way his parents had.
No, they probably wouldn't have come across it. So he's quite open about the fact that he's bulimic then. He's not hiding it.
No, but they thought he was a greedy and selfish young man who wasted food.
I suppose that's of the time, isn't it, as well? So,
yeah. In fact, once when he was caught taking more than his allotted share of the bread at a meal, he was whipped and had his rations reduced.
Oh dear.
So it was a far cry from the peaceful rural life in Mormont, which he'd left behind.
Yeah. Well, suddenly he feels like a little fish.
In a very big pond.
A very big pond, yeah.
Despite this, though, Victor quickly grew into a strong young man, and he had been raised by his parents as a considerate and polite person who was always supportive of others.
Mm.
And this helpful nature would soon be his ticket out of the job he hated.
Okay, good.
When one day, in the street, he witnessed a milk cart knock over a butcher's delivery boy without stopping.
So he's going to take the job of the butcher's delivery boy?
More or less, yes. He helped the injured lad up.
And stole his job?
No, he didn't steal his job. He helped the injured lad up and helped him carry the heavy load of meat to the butcher.
Okay.
And the butcher was very grateful to Victor and couldn't help but notice that the young man was unusually strong.
Yeah.
As he effortlessly carried the heavy load. So he offered Victor a job, which he accepted, and which soon became an apprenticeship, which let Victor learn all about butchery and the carving up of animal carcasses.
Okay, well, someone's got to do that. You know, it is a talent, really, isn't it? You know, and it's definitely a trade.
Yep. And even better for Victor, when the day's work was done, the employees were allowed to eat as much as they liked.
Wow.
Perfect job for a high-powered bulimic.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. I bet they regretted telling them that. I'm sorry, we shouldn't laugh.
No.
Bulimia is serious business, but yeah, that did tickle me.
Victor became adept at every aspect of butchery and seemed to positively enjoy the smell of blood and the act of cutting up meat.
Mm.
When his apprenticeship was complete, he briefly worked at the butcher's shop as a butcher, but he was dismissed after a short time for the very French reason of having an affair with the owner's mistress.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to keep you on after that.
No.
That's fair enough.
He briefly worked in a school on the Rue Saint-Honore, where he also seemed to attract more female attention than is easily explainable.
What did he do at the school?
I don't know.
Was he some sort of caretaker
I couldn't
or
find
something?
out, yeah. But also, perhaps Victor was far better looking in his early years than in the later photos which we have of him, which will have probably popped up somewhere on the screen by now.
Okay.
Anyway, before he could be dismissed from another job for fraternizing with flirty females, Victor Prevost was conscripted into the French army on the 11th of April, 1855.
Oh dear.
When he was just 19 years old.
But at the moment, he's pretty much crime-free.
Yeah, at the moment, he's crime-free.
Yeah, okay.
And military conscription had been a very common thing in France for decades, since the French Revolution and all through the reign of Napoleon Bonaparte. All young men were aware of the common phrase, "Every Frenchman is a soldier and owes himself to the defence of the nation."
Okay.
Since Victor was a big, strong lad, he was made a cuirassier.
What's that?
It's like a heavy cavalryman.
Okay.
He served in the army for 6 years under conscription and took part in the Italian War of Independence in 1859, during which he received various commendations and a medal of commemoration.
Okay, so he's a good soldier.
He was a good soldier.
Still nothing, no red flags really, except for the enjoyment of butchery and maybe a little bit too much. But
Yes.
there's nothing at the moment that would make you think, oh, we're in trouble here.
Nope. So in 1861, he was released from service with a certificate of good conduct. However, the very next year, he signed back up for a 7-year contract.
Why was that?
He liked the military.
That's probably a red flag in itself.
Well, during this time, he rose in the ranks until on the 20th of January 1866, he was posted to the prestigious Cent Gardes Squadron, which was a ceremonial cavalry unit responsible for guarding the emperor and his family.
That sounds like a good job. That sounds like quite exciting.
Yes. Well, it would have been quite boring some of the time. I mean, I say ceremonial because they were nothing like the famous Imperial Guard of Napoleon Bonaparte. They weren't protecting anyone in battle. And basically they were there to look impressive and colourful and not move for long periods of time.
Oh, so like our beef eaters.
Exactly, yeah. Something like the King's Guard here in the UK, who stand for hours wearing those preposterous 2-foot-tall furry hats.
They are amazing, though.
They are very impressive.
Yeah.
But the other thing that the Cent Gardes got to do was attend the lavish and luxurious balls and parties in Paris high society, where they were very popular with the young ladies.
I bet they were.
Because they had a fabulous uniform.
I bet they did.
Which should also have popped up somewhere on the screen by now.
I hope it has lots of red. I'm picturing like a red.
I think there's a lot of blue and green in it, actually.
Okay.
I mentioned that because at the ball of La Tuileries in 1867, something possibly pertinent to our story happened. Louis Alphonse Herveau, the chief of the Cent Gardes, noticed a young lady at the ball, fair-skinned, wearing a simple but tasteful dress. He noticed her because as she moved around the ballroom, engaging various men in conversation, she was also taking notes in a small notebook which she concealed in a pocket of her dress.
Suspicious.
Yes, and suspicious of her actions, he had the police follow her and detain her for questioning.
Okay.
Poor woman. Under police interrogation, the 35-year-old widow revealed that she was the real Lady Whistledown.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. For anyone who hasn't seen Bridgerton,
it's getting exciting now,
and doesn't get that reference, she went around Paris, attending the balls and parties, and wrote about what she saw and the people she slept with in a Paris newspaper under the pseudonym Lady Furet.
I love it so much. So much. So she's the one to go to for any gossip.
Yes.
So actually they should make friends with her. Because they're security, right? They really need her help.
They do. But she had also, for the past few weeks, been having a secret affair with a certain member of the Cent Gardes.
Oh, I can imagine
Victor
who it is.
Prevost.
Yeah.
This being France, soldiers and even officers were allowed, if not expected, to fraternise with a female or two. It was mentioned, though, to Victor by his commanding officer that his most recent dalliance may end up in the Paris press, since the woman was essentially a gossip columnist.
Yeah, that will happen.
It won't
Especially
happen.
if he upsets her.
It won't happen. The story of the seduction of an officer of the Cent Gardes by Lady Furet would not appear in the newspaper.
Oh.
In fact,
something happened to Lady
no more
Furet.
stories from Lady Furet would be seen, and neither would Lady Furet herself. The woman vanished and was never heard from by anyone again.
What, straight after the party?
Not straight after the party, but after she'd been questioned by the police after the party and after Victor Prevost, commanding officer, had spoken to them.
But surely he's not being very clever if he's had something to do with her disappearance, and I'm assuming he did.
I don't know if he did or not, actually. Her family reported her as missing about a week after the La Tuileries ball incident. But police at the time thought that after being revealed as an anonymous gossip columnist, it was most likely that she had fled Paris and simply didn't want to be found. Also, The police had no desire to investigate a reasonably high-ranking officer in the Cent Gardes.
Well, no, I suppose not. But also, we've seen it happen, didn't we, with Lady Whistledown?
Yep.
You do get, like, shunned
Yep.
in society once you're found out.
Yep.
People want to read it, but they don't want to be associated with the person who wrote it.
Exactly. But I do have to emphasise that there was and is no evidence at the time connecting Victor Prevost to the disappearance of the mysterious Lady Furet. And there were also other men in Paris high society who had been named and shamed by her writing, who would also have had a motive to get rid of her.
Yeah, there's probably a big long list of people that had a motive.
Yeah. So I suppose without any confirmation, we can only speculate as to which is the stronger motive. The need to protect a good reputation or revenge for a reputation already destroyed.
Poor thing.
But another thing to consider, though, when deciding if it was likely that Victor was responsible for Lady Furet's disappearance, is the fact that she would not be the last woman directly connected to Victor who vanished without a trace. When Victor Prevost's second stint of military service came to an end in April 1869, he was released with another certificate of good conduct and an unblemished military record of distinction. Less than 3 months later, on the 1st of July 1869, Victor was hired by the municipal police of Paris.
Oh, he likes these highfalutin jobs, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Jobs of high importance.
Yeah. They were quickly dissolved, actually, and became the peacekeepers after the fall of the Second French Empire in 1870.
Sounds so much better than police, doesn't it?
It does.
Peacekeepers. We should just call our police peacekeepers. That's very difficult to shorten into something slightly annoying for them, like Popo.
Popo.
That's what Lily calls him, the Popo.
She does call him the Popo. She's
the
watched
Popo.
too many gangster films, that girl. Victor was a street peacekeeper, responsible for patrolling his area around the Rue de l'Evangile and dealing with any petty crime. A beat copper, basically. He was always polite to people and was known to be very good with the children in the area, who apparently respected him, which is maybe the most astonishing thing in this whole story.
Why?
Children respecting police?
I think that's a sign of the times rather than...
Yeah.
It doesn't happen now so much, does it?
No.
And that's a sign that their parents never respected the police, and on it goes and on it goes.
Yeah. But there were, however, issues with Victor Prevost's police service. On the 18th of September 1871, he was reprimanded for negligence in his service. On the 11th of September 1876, he was blamed for abandoning the block he was supposed to be patrolling, and on the 15th, he was subjected to a deduction of salary for spending his time at a wine merchant.
Oh, wouldn't you though?
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't you? If you weren't unsupervised.
Yeah.
And your beat is just the streets, wouldn't you just? I might go in for a little glass of wine.
Yeah.
I could watch everybody from a nice little table outside, overlooking the pretty square.
But it is
I'm imagining.
It is a bit odd considering his years of impeccable service in the regimented Cent Gardes. But perhaps Victor was the kind of man who needed those sort of strict rules that the military have in order to stay out of mischief.
He needed a hierarchy. He needed someone to boss them about.
Yeah. But one thing which hadn't changed for Victor since he first came to Paris was that women were still inexplicably enamoured with him and seemed eager to catch his eye in the street or strike up a conversation. Maids and domestic servants giggled. That was my giggle.
I don't know if we needed that illustrated.
Well, it got illustrated, and they whispered as he strode by.
Are you going to whisper?
No.
No, because you can't do that, can you?
No, I'm not very good at whispering.
Part of your ADHD.
Yeah.
You can't whisper.
And he soon reclaimed his old nickname, the Handsome Man. This actually caused some consternation to his superiors. Commissioner Lefebvre would later recall, "I was very embarrassed by Prévost. I had thought it best to assign him as an orderly to La Chapelle. His presence was enough to turn the maids' heads upside down. I received collective complaints from parents who complains that their maids were abandoning their children entrusted to their care to follow him in the street.
Falling into the Pink Panther films.
A little bit.
Oh, you apologise greatly to the French people who may or may not be turning off now.
Victor Prevost never married, but he had a string of lovers while serving in the Cent Gardes and in the police. One of his most enduring relationships, and long-lasting, was with a woman called Adele Blondin.
Blondin.
She worked as a governess for a rich older gentleman. And she must have been a bloody good governess, because in his will the old man left Adele the sum of 30,000 francs.
What would that be back then? That's quite a sum.
That would be a lot of money. I didn't look it up. By the time Adele met a dashing young police officer in 1874, she had already put her money into a state annuity, which gave her a monthly income of about 1,500 francs. She also invested in a small business and often gave money to her sister.
Sounds very sensible with money.
She was. Adele Blondin was not rich by any means, but she was comfortable and able to buy luxuries like expensive jewellery and fine clothes.
She's a catch.
Yes. During the 2 years that Adele was seeing Victor Prevost, she would often speak about him to her sister when they lunched together, or to her landlady when she came back from a date. On the 27th of February 1876, Adele Blondin left her house to meet Victor for lunch at his house at 22 Rue de l'Evangile. Her landlady saw her leave and noted that she was unusually well dressed for a Sunday lunch. Expensive jewellery and an elegant dress, topped with a distinctive Scottish tartan shawl.
Lovely, I've got one of those.
You do?
My wedding shawl. So she is just going to his house for a meal,
Yes.
but she's all dressed up.
Yes.
So has she said, I'm just going there for a meal, that's all
Yes.
we're doing?
Yeah.
He's not like he's promised her something else.
No.
Yeah.
But the next day, Adele didn't turn up for a lunch appointment with her sister. So, sister went to her home and spoke to the landlady. Adele hadn't been seen by anyone since she left to meet Victor the day before. Using a spare key, the two women checked inside the house, but found it tidy and in good order, but no sign of Adele. Her bed looked as though it had not been slept in that night.
You need to go and speak to her current beau.
Well, they reported Adele Blondin missing to the local police station and informed the desk officer that the last time she'd been seen, it was on the way to meet Victor Prevost.
Who's also the police.
Who is also the police, yeah. Now, we've recently been watching a series about police in the UK looking for missing people.
Yeah, the police in Scotland were wonderful in that.
Yeah, the amount of resources they put in sometimes is staggering. Not so in this instance.
Well, she's an adult.
Victor was asked if he knew where Adele was. And then, when he said he didn't, the case was closed.
What?
That was it.
And there was nothing her family could do, nothing her sister could do about that.
Nope.
Even if she went back to the station and said, look, she's still not here.
Nope.
Wow, okay.
Paris at this point was a city of, I think, 2 million people in the mid-1800s. So there was probably quite a lot of missing people.
Are we at that time where people started moving about a lot, though? We're not really, are we?
No, not really.
So that would be, surely a woman of some means going missing is more suspicious than maybe someone who's down on their luck and having a terrible time and just wants to move on.
Yes, and if the police had conducted a thorough investigation, or any investigation, they might have discovered that Victor had sold all of the jewellery which Adele had been wearing to various goldsmiths in Paris.
He's blatant, isn't he?
Yeah.
He can't get caught for this because A, they're not looking for anyone, and B, he is the police.
Yes.
He's probably feeling very confident.
Yes. Also, around the same time, not that the police connected this fact, a lot of discarded meat was found by various sewer cleaners in Paris.
Oh no, he's butchered her.
Yes. This was not in itself unusual, because if a butcher was unlucky enough to accept a diseased animal that couldn't be used, they chopped it up and often illegally dumped it in the sewers.
Nice. Okay.
This meat, though, was unusually fresh for butchered animal meat. But it would be almost 2 years before the authorities in Paris and the poor woman's family realised the awful fate which had befallen Adele Blondin.
So 2 months, did you say?
2 years.
Oh, 2 years.
Yes.
Oh, I dread to think what's going to happen in these 2 years.
Well, fast forward 2 years.
Mm.
And at tea time, on the 10th of September 1879, Madame Lenoble set the table and waited for her husband Alexandre to come home. Alexandre Lenoble was 38 years old and had until recently worked as a senior broker for a high-end Paris jewellery merchant. He still worked as a jeweller, but a few months before he'd gone into business for himself in a rented unit in Paris.
Mm.
He had a good book of regular clients and was making a decent, if not huge, amount of money. The Lenoble house was respectable and clean, and Alexander was dedicated to his 2 children, a son aged 6 and a daughter aged 11.
Sounds ideal.
Alexander was described by those who knew him as an industrious and hard-working man. He didn't drink. He was seldom, if ever, late. So when he didn't come home at dinner time on the 10th of September, Madame Lenoble was immediately concerned.
Yeah, can you imagine the panic?
Yeah.
No mobile phones or anything to trace anybody?
No.
Then?
Nothing. She waited for a few hours, becoming more and more anxious as time passed, until finally, when she was sure that Alexander was not just late, Madame Lenoble went and informed the police that her husband was missing.
Mm.
The desk officer at the local police station made a record of the missing Alexander Lenoble, while assuring his wife that there was probably a reasonable explanation and that she shouldn't worry.
And close the case.
Well, no, they couldn't close the case this time.
Why not? This is a man that's gone missing. He looks after the family.
No. But Madame Lenoble was not reassured. She was convinced that something terrible had happened to her husband. And sadly, it would transpire that she wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
At 8 p.m. the same evening, Madame Thierry is making her way home through the Gare du Nord district of Paris to her house on the Rue de Rosée. At this time of night, in September, the streets were almost deserted and poorly lit by the dim flames of cast iron gas lamps. As she made her way through the quiet streets, Madame Thierry noticed a tall man, dressed in what looked like a cattle driver's long coat and a silk cap. The man was conspicuous, not just because he was the only other person in the street, but also because he was moving furtively, like he was trying not to be noticed.
Suspicious.
Yeah. Madame Thierry watched the man stoop near a stream which ran past the corner of the Rue de la Chapelle and Rue de Prévost.
Mm.
It looked like he'd hidden something on the ground nearby and then sneaked off in the direction of the Ney Boulevard.
Oh, so it's not a bit of meat again, is it?
It is indeed.
Oh.
Madame Thierry got a good look at the man's face and thought she recognised him as a local peacekeeper.
Oh, that's it. That's the downside, isn't it?
Yes.
Of having that sort of job.
Yeah. She didn't know the officer's name because everyone, especially the girls who gossip, always called him the handsome man.
Oh, she knew him by his nickname, and everybody knew him by his nickname.
Everyone knew him by his nickname, and she was sure it was him because he actually used to live a few doors down from her house in 1877.
Wow, what a coincidence.
Yeah.
But you said so many people in Paris at that time.
Yeah. Curious as to what a police officer might be hiding in the dark of evening, Madame Thierry went over and had a look. What she found, tucked under a manhole cover, was a cloth parcel tied up with string. It was damp and sticky.
Ugh.
When she unwrapped it, she found that it contained large chunks of meat, still bloody. At that moment, another on-duty police keeper named Mr. Hardy was passing by and took notice of Madame Thierry. She showed him the parcel of meat and told him that a tall man had just hidden it.
Mm.
There was something about the long, thick strips of flesh in the parcel which Officer Hardy found suspicious.
Good. Someone on their job, doing their job, not going to the pub.
They were too fresh and bloody to be an illegally butchered animal, and the muscles looked wrong.
Oh.
He decided to take the parcel to the station for investigation.
Mm.
A local butcher and a doctor of pharmacology were consulted. Both men inspected the meat under the lamplight and then conferred in hushed tones. After several long moments of silence, they confirmed Officer Hardy's fears. The meat was human.
Mm.
Specifically, it was the skinned flesh from an arm.
Oh.
Commissioner Lefebvre,
Mm.
the head of the Paris peacekeepers, immediately ordered a thorough search of the streets and sewers for any similar parcels. For the next 2 days, peacekeepers looked all over Paris and eventually recovered 77 separate small parcels of human meat and remains packaged in the same way.
All the same body?
Yes.
And what about the head?
No head. Most were found in the places where they had been hidden, but 3 were actually recovered from a rag and bone seller who had himself found them, but not knowing what they were, he was going to sell them on as cheap meat for stewing.
I bet other pieces went that way too.
Probably. The 77 packages were examined by doctors at the mortuary, who determined that they all came from the same individual, and that the body was very nearly complete, except for the missing head, without which identification was impossible. They also found that the dismemberment and division of the body had been done by someone with both knowledge and experience. The separations were made cleanly at the joints, and the flesh taken off the bone with a precision which was almost but not quite medical.
And did they keep the name? Did you write down the name of the lady that found that first bit and describe the man that left?
Oh, yes.
Does she know who it is?
Yes. Madame Thierry was brought back in to give a formal statement and a full description of the man she had seen disposing of the parcel. The description she gave matched Victor Prevost exactly. And again, she said she recognised him as the local police officer known as the handsome man who had lived a few doors down from her. So finally, Victor Prevost was brought in for formal questioning, which was done by Commissioner Lefebvre himself.
Well, I suppose you're going to have to go a little bit higher because the rest of them will be his friends.
Yeah. Victor's answers were, to begin with, confident but vague, as he denied any involvement in any crime. When asked if he had been on the corner of the Rue Prévost on the night that Madame Thierry had seen him, he replied, "I do not even know where that is."
We must do. He's a footman. He's a peacekeeper. Of course he knows.
Commissioner Lefebvre knew that that was false and said so. "You just made your first lie," he said. "You know the place. You arrested criminals there last year. What was your schedule that night?" Victor replied that he'd been at home, indisposed all evening. But Lefebvre knew that that was also a lie, because Victor had actually met another police officer at about 9 p.m. At that point, he'd been carrying a bucket with a cover over it.
Did that police officer not ask what was in the bucket?
No.
That's not a usual thing you take around when you meet your friends, is it?
No. On an impulse, since the body still hadn't been identified, Commissioner Lefebvre asked if Victor knew a man called Alexandre Lenoble. Victor was silent for a long time, and then in a cold and calm voice, he made a stunning confession, for which I will not affect a French accent.
You're good.
Because...
You're serious.
Yeah. He said, "I have known Mr. Lenoble for some time, to whom I expressed the intention to buy a gold chain, payable in instalments. We made an appointment, and yesterday at noon he was in my room at number 75 Rue Riquet. On my bed he spread out his wares, arguing for the price of 240 francs, telling me that it was his best chain and his most beautiful medallion. I took the advantage of the moment he was writing down the bills payable in monthly terms and knocked him out with a ball of tender, which is a big iron sort of pipey thing used by rail workers. A first vigorous blow with both of my hands struck him down. The second hit broke the skull. The third was useless. He made no movement, did not utter a cry, gurgling at intervals. I then undressed my victim, put him in a trunk, and stripped the body of flesh entirely to prevent recognition.
Gross.
At 3 o'clock, I began to cut up the corpse, and at 5 o'clock my work was finished.
That's very quick.
I flushed the liquid parts in the lavatories, and I disposed of the solid ones in the sewers, vacant lots and ditches around the fortifications.
What about the head?
My job being done, I had dinner, and at around 10 o'clock I went to bed.
Oh, you may have made him a bit peckish.
This morning,
What about the head?
This morning I resumed my work with Lenoble's head, his jewellery box, and his clothes at home. When Lefebvre asked where the head was, Victor told him it was in a cauldron at his house.
What was he going to do with it?
Boil it down.
What, into mush?
Yeah. Police searched the house and found the head just where Victor had said it would be. They also found the tools of a butcher, well maintained and recently used.
It's very like Leonardo Cinciulli, isn't it?
It is. Victor had cleaned thoroughly, but the evidence of the messy act was still there in the house. Stains on the floor and blood splatter, which Victor had missed when cleaning. The murder weapon was recovered also, still stained with blood. Another thing that the police found was a distinctive tartan shawl, which Adele Blondin's sister and landlady both identified as having belonged to the missing woman.
Does he admit to killing her?
Well, initially, Victor denied this as well, claiming that Adele had gifted him the shawl before she went missing. However, a search of the house where Victor had lived at the time she went missing, which is the one just a couple of houses down from Madame Thierry, revealed more blood spatter and stained floorboards. Faced with this evidence, Victor changed his story. It was I who killed the Blondin girl. I strangled her first with both hands. She was lying drunk on this bed. It was Sunday the 27th of February 1876 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I wanted to get rid of her. It was a crampon. Crux. She'd become annoying to him. I had other views and she bothered me.
Just break up with her.
I then cut her out as Lenoble, but she impressed me a lot less than him while doing the job. I threw the pieces in the sewers. As for the head, you will find it buried in the fortifications, near the Grand Office. I gave away or sold her jewels. She only had 1,500 francs on her, no more.
What made him admit to the first, the man? What made him admit to that? Because they, at that point, didn't have anything on him except that he'd lied about knowing the area.
Yeah, I think Lefebvre gave the impression that they knew, even though they didn't know. Yeah. Which is dodgy policing, but...
Oh, it still happens today.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So that afternoon, Victor took the police to the place where he'd buried Adele Blondin's head. And they dug up the only piece of Adele's body which her family would be able to bury. The rest of her remains had been flushed into the sewers 2 years before.
Such a horrible, disrespectful act as well, isn't it?
It is.
There's an extra element of disrespect.
Yeah. The trial was held in Paris on the 7th of December before Judge Hardon and 2 independent assessors. The defence, such as it was provided by Mr. Boucher, and the prosecution by the Attorney General, Mr. Briffilet.
You think when they're admitted to everything, the defence basically hasn't really got much of a job?
Well, Victor pled not guilty.
Why?
He accused the police of fabricating his confessions and the evidence. Not that the jury bought that. And even if his confessions had been deemed inadmissible, the evidence against Victor was irrefutable.
Oh yeah, blood everywhere.
Yeah. Both of his recent residences bore the stains and the proof.
And he told them where the head was.
Of his violent acts. And they'd led him to both heads.
Yeah, it's a bit of a silly defence going on. But okay, well, they've got to try something.
After a summary of the debates by the judge, the jury went to deliberate. And in just 20 minutes, they brought back a verdict of guilty on both counts.
Good.
The court then withdrew to establish their verdict before pronouncing, unsurprisingly, a death sentence against Victor for the crimes of premeditated murder.
And what sort of death sentence did you have in France at that time?
Guillotine.
Oh, chop off your head.
Yes.
No going back from that.
No. Victor's appeals and a plea for a pardon were all rejected, and his public execution would take place in front of the Mazas prison on Monday the 19th of January, 1880, at 7 a.m. They actually executed him half an hour early because so many people gathered outside the prison, they were getting concerned.
I bet half of them were his women. I bet he still had lots of women fans, female fans.
In front of a huge crowd of people who were held back by 300 policemen, 100 Republican guards, and 50 cavalry horsemen,
Whoa.
Victor was led to the guillotine by his executioner, Louis Dedlier, who pulled the lever which dropped the blade, which ended the life of Victor Prevost. His family decided not to claim his remains.
Oh, the shame.
So following a mock burial at the Ivy Cemetery, which had to be done for legal reasons for some.
A mock burial?
Yeah.
Why? Why? Do you know why?
I have no idea. I think legally he had to be buried. Like that's what you have to do to an executed prisoner.
Yeah.
But if the family don't claim the body, he can go for medical examination. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they had to.
Research.
So they have to mock bury him, and then send him off. So the body of Victor Prevost was taken to the Charles Philippe Robin Laboratory at the Faculty of Medicine for examination by medical students and professors.
Did they look at his brain? Was there anything different about his brain?
Well, shortly after this, one of the professors, Dr. Paul Broca, who has a part of the exactly, he has a part of the brain named after him, published a study entitled "The Brain of the Killer Prévost," and in it,
I think he worked with a partner, Wernix. Is it Wernix?
I don't know,
something like that. And yeah, they both got bits named after.
Yeah, you'll know more about this than me. But in his study, he noted functional defects of Prévost's brain, which made it, in his words, very abnormal. One of these was an underdeveloped amygdala, which I believe is critical for emotional regulation and fear response.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know whether he'd started out like that or whether that strange diet he was having played any part in any sort of brain wearing, if you like. Yeah, interesting.
But
or could that have what was caused his early bulimia led to other abnormal? I mean, obviously he has no empathy, has he?
No.
For the people he's killing.
No.
But then he is also, on the flip side, capable of some kind of relationship because he's having relationships here, there, and everywhere.
Yes, but
and fits in to society fairly normally.
Apart from when he's chopping people up.
That would be very interesting to be able to talk to him when he was alive, like the FBI profiling kind of thing.
Yes, he would have been a fascinating case study.
Yeah.
But it's his victims. Oh, the poor woman, Adele Blondin.
Yeah, she was just starting to live her life with some money and and we don't know about
Lady Furet.
Lady Furet, do we? Right, I imagine that's probably what happened to her too.
Yep.
Nobody's heard from her in that period.
Nope, her family were never heard from her again.
Wow. What an interesting case.
It is, isn't it?
It's horrific and horrible, but really fascinating. And you put me back in that era, I think, with your storytelling.
The gas lamps.
I was imagining the gas lamps and walking down and how pretty Paris would have been then, but also I think they still had the same issues with sewage and rubbish and mess that we all, we're all aware of.
They did. And Paris was very much a sort of a city of two classes. There's the upper class and there's the lower class. There's very little middle class in Paris.
But very interesting.
Yeah.
And all around the area that is now the station that I've been to. You were saying, wasn't you? Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So there you go. I gave you true crime.
You did. Now, are you going to give me a Scottish word of the week?
No. No, we're going to do two things.
Okay.
First, together, we're going to do a Scottish tongue twister, which was sent to us by one of our...
Yeah, I didn't understand this at all.
No, you didn't.
There was lots of oohs and e's.
And I didn't understand it until she sent us a recording of it, and then I remembered it. And we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
But first,
yeah.
First we will do it together.
Okay. Ooh.
Aye, ooh.
Ah, ooh.
Aye, ah, ooh.
Ah, I, ooh.
Ah, e, ooh.
Ah, eh, ooh.
Aye, ah, e, ooh.
Ah, I, ooh, eh, ooh. But what's it all about? Why are we sounding like monkeys?
It's about wool, basically.
Oh, that's good. It's always good.
In the north, north, especially in Dorich, the short slang for wool was just ooh.
Ooh.
Aye.
But wool's such an easy word to say anyway.
It became woo first.
Woo.
Any woo.
Anyway.
And then they dropped the W as well. Any woo.
Okay.
And so that's a tongue twister about wool.
Okay, so my first bit ooh is wool.
Yep. And
then you go
aye, ooh.
Yes,
wool. And then you go
ooh.
All wool. And I go aye, ah ooh.
Yes, ooh.
Yeah. And then you
I say ooh.
Ah ooh.
Ah ooh.
All same wool. Aye. Ah ooh. Yes, all same wool.
That is a bizarre conversation that someone's having there.
Well,
and it doesn't make sense even in English.
Well, the interesting thing, it's not really an interesting thing, but I didn't recognise it written down.
Yeah.
But when she sent it to me, I did recognise it. Although I remember it in a different form.
Right.
I remember it as a short song, which I heard...
Dear. Ariana, this is your fault.
Which I heard, I think...
Oh, sorry, Oriana.
At the Kelburn Garden Party,
a
Scottish music festival, in the kids' story tent, which is a great place to go when you're high as a kite.
Not that we're saying that anyone should.
No, absolutely not.
Ali's cleaned up his act a lot.
Yeah, I have.
Just to let you know.
But yes, I remember it as a short song, slightly longer than that, done to the tune of Call the Yows.
Okay.
And it went, if I can remember it all.
Surely the words aren't that difficult.
Ooh, I, ooh, ah, oh, ooh, I, ah, ooh, ah, oh, eh, ooh, ah, oh, ooh, I, oh, ah, ooh, ah, oh, ah, eh, ooh.
Beautiful.
Oh, aye.
Don't do it again.
No?
No.
Oh, okay.
If you'd like to hear more singing from Ali, please don't ask him. But if you do, I'm sure he would. Come to CrimeCon in October. I think it's the 3rd and 4th of October this year.
I can't remember. I always get it wrong anyway.
Yeah.
But I remember that you used the code HOOPS to get some money off.
You get 10% off your ticket.
That's right.
And we'd love to see you there. We will look after you if you come on your own. If you don't, just come and meet us for a drink.
You, not you. Actually, you stay away.
Oh dear. Anyway, we will see you again next week. Thank you so much for listening.
Yes, and we very much hope to see you next crime. Bye!
No, you've just done the ow,
ooh,
I,
ooh, ah, oh, ooh, I, ah, ooh, ah, oh, eh, ooh, ah, oh, ooh, I, oh, ah, ooh. Ah, oh, ah, eh, ooh. No?